Good evening and welcome. I'm now calling this meeting to order. First, we will have our invocation and then follow with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand for our invocation from Mayor Hinton and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, give us a spirit of service. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. May we be granted wisdom, discernment, and compassion as we deliberate on the matters before us tonight. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 on our agenda is roll call. Ms. Webb, call roll, please.
Pro Tem Washington.
Here.
Councilman Wiggins.
Here.
Councilwoman Dykes.
Here.
Councilman Aiken.
Here.
And President Bobo.
Present. Item number 5 is presentations. We have none tonight. Item number 6 is approval of the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to make a motion to approve the agenda for the November 4th council meeting as printed? I think that's a motion by Pro Tem Washington. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item number 7 is visitors to address the council. We have 2 tonight. We'd like to thank you guys for coming to the council meeting and for taking this time to express your thoughts and ideas. I'd just like to remind everyone that this is a time for guests to make remarks addressed to the staff, mayor, and council as a body, and not to any single member or to the audience. As questions are asked during this time of addressing the council, they're being documented by our city administrator and will have follow-up at the appropriate time in the agenda during public hearings or following the meeting if not applicable to a specific current agenda item. The first visitor on our agenda is Mr. Tom Morrison, addressing Parklands of Northport and the use of. Please come to the dais, state your name and address.
Tom Morrison, 15050 Murray Lane, Northport, Alabama, 35475. Thank y'all for having me. I'm here to talk to y'all. I've got a couple of questions and a statement or two. I don't know which order to do it in, but my concern is for our parklands. And when I say parks, I'm speaking about the Hassan Community Center, Civitan, and the old Kentuck from the 13, 14-year-old ball field, the tennis courts out to 5th and down, just what I guess would used to be Kentuck Park, or what I would know it as. And I just wonder if there can be a reason given why any of these parks, to my knowledge, haven't been dedicated as parks in perpetuity and are secure from being sold or traded or used for commercial purposes and not being used as parkland from now on. I mean, and I just don't feel like that y'all have addressed that enough. And if you have, I apologize, but I just don't, I'm not aware of any security that those parks have. And I'd like to see all of them, not just those, but the rest of them too. But those 4 are the ones that are on my mind. And I'm just wondering if there's a reason y'all haven't done that. If it's a business reason or what. And I would just like to know why. And then my second part of my question, Mayor Hinton, on the October 7th meeting, at, I don't know, around the 55-minute mark, if you're curious where it was made at. He talked about a hotel being open in 2026, and I'm unaware of where that hotel is, and I'm just wondering where it is, and because right prior to that comment, he was talking about the ball fields down there, and I'm just wondering if we're going to lose some more parkland to some commercial development or what. I'd just like some clarification on those comments from October 7th meeting. And that would be all I've got right now.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much for your questions and comments. If you'd like to get with our city administrator, Ms. Webb, after the meeting, we can get your contact information and get in touch with you, and we'll all take that into account. Thank you.
Well, what I'd like to do, Ms. Webb, is after we get some of my questions, the major points, I would like for it to be brought out in a council meeting so it would be a matter of public record, because a lot of people watch at home and just a correspondence between me and them, you know, and I would like for whoever, the mayor or yourself, I'd like for it to be addressed in public.
Okay, we appreciate your comments.
But the hotel part, obviously, if you know when it's gonna be complete, you would know where it's going. I mean, could you not answer that?
Could we not answer that? Well, this is just a time for you to make questions or comments. We'll document that and get back in touch with you.
I know, but that's, okay. Well, I asked a question to a,
Well, we're not open for a public hearing right now. This is just a time for you to make your
Okay.
comments, and we'll get back in touch with you.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the next person on our agenda is Mr. Tuffy Holland. Could you come to the lectern and state your name and address?
Thank you for this opportunity. Tuffy Holland, 3314 Mayberry Landing Drive, Northport 35473. Okay, before I start on the cooperative district, let's cover what got us here. Please keep in mind the city of Northport has given the developers of University Beach the following: approximately 12 acres worth $2.65 million, promised $20 million to the developer toward building infrastructure for University Beach, over $61 million in sales tax abatement, for a total of over $83 million in incentives from the city of Northport. This was given and promised to an out-of-state developer without the city reviewing a completed economic impact study on University Beach. I just want to talk a little bit about the cooperative districts. I've seen some posts and I've seen some remarks about what is the cooperative districts. I'm glad we have the lawyers here. Maybe they can help us out a little bit. First, I want to go over the cooperative districts. Were primarily used when they first were passed by the legislature as addressing issues related to disaster relief in blighted areas. The law was enacted to provide a mechanism for local government to respond effectively to specific needs to communities facing significant challenges. Like I said, disaster recovery after tornado, floods, and blight removal, which means it could be inner city, it could be rural, but it would help deteriorating buildings and that sort of thing. That's what it was originally proposed for. All right, cooperative districts in Alabama has the authority to carry out the variety of activities, hierarchy activities, just some, not inclusive. They can finance and issue bonds, raise debt. They can develop and maintain infrastructure, acquire and manage property, levy assessments and fees, enter into contracts, set and enforce rules. They are tax exempt. They can promote economic activity. That is for the cooperative districts. I also wanted to, am I done?
Your time has run out, but we'll give you a little bit longer.
Oh,
if
thank
you
you.
could try
I appreciate
to
it.
wrap it up. I think you've got, we'll do another
appreciate
30
it.
seconds. See if you can.
Okay, all right, well, let's move along here.
I don't want you to feel intimidated by the timer. You can continue.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that. I just also wanted to cover the improvement district, and I think that was what most people had questions about. They can have infrastructure development. They can issue bonds also. They can levy assessments. They can acquire property. They can enter into contracts. They can establish rules and regulations. They are also tax exempt. They can promote economic development, and they can collaborate with other entities, other cities, other companies, that sort. Just a little background. They can go under just like any corporation. Matter of fact, there's one that was dissolved in June 2022. Exit 212 Agricultural Cooperative District in Chilton County. And then there's one in Auburn that issued $24 million in revenue bonds, and it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and that's in Auburn, Alabama. Here are some things that can go wrong when these districts, or things that can cause the districts not to work. Financial mismanagement, overestimating revenue or demand, high debt burden, lack of public support, insufficient coordination among stakeholders, economic downturns or declines in property value, inadequate project management, legal or regulatory challenges, and failure to meet community needs. These are public corporations. They are held to the same rules and standards as any Alabama public corporation. Open meetings and public or record laws, financial reporting and auditing requirements, and procurement and contracting procedures. I believe that the first district formed has already had a meeting, and I didn't see that announced anywhere. So I wish, if you would, maybe post that somewhere, just like you do the council meetings, because that is an open public meeting.
Okay, Mr. Holland, do you think you're getting close to where you need to be to end? I think
Yeah,
that
I'm right
we've got an
here.
agenda item that is going to help address some of the questions that you have.
Okay.
And it's not marked on our agenda, but we have discussed opening up for public questions, so you'll be allowed another time to ask questions.
Okay. I'm right here at the end.
Okay.
Can I go ahead? Thank you. The Alabama Improvement District Act gives these districts great power, and to say they are cities within cities is not hyperbolic. They have influence beyond their district lines. Oversight of these boards can be difficult due to the complex structure of governance. I hope that the council and city leaders I hope that they have anticipated what is involved in dealing with these districts, judging from past comments. And I admit that it is very complex, but I hope that you're up to the task. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate you coming to speak. Item number 8 on our agenda is unfinished business. 8A is ordinance and resolutions of a permanent nature. 8A1 is a second reading ordinance changing the single-member council district lines based on the 2020 census and the Voting Rights Act. Mr. Davis.
Yes, Madam President. The City of Northport retained the services of West Alabama Regional Commission in order for us to balance our district. As you know, we had a census in 2020, and our growth areas are to the north, west, which kind of got our existing districts, which are based on the 2010 census, out of balance. You try to be within 5 or 10% of population. So you have, for example, if you've got 25,000 people, you want roughly 5,000 people in each district. And so that's what we were trying to do, is to balance out the numbers. Also, under federal law, in Northport, based on our racial makeup, we need at least one majority-minority district, which has been District 2. We have had public comments. We've had an educational meeting. We've received comments. Well, we haven't gotten very many, quite frankly. We've gotten comments from individuals that have reviewed the maps, and you could review the maps, and even if they were long enough, large enough, you could find your house and see which district you would be voting in. And we've had first reading and public comment at the last council meeting, and this is ready for you to take action on this if you want to vote on these specific districts. Now, what you would be voting on is exactly what was presented from day one. There are no changes from any of these public meetings, what's been on the website, or what was presented in all these maps. So we had maps of each district separately than one combined map. So if you want to adopt that version of that, you can vote on that tonight. It's ready for your consideration.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the ordinance changing the single-member council district lines based on the 2020 census and the Voting Rights Act. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 8A2 is a second reading resolution approving an application filed with the council seeking authority to incorporate a public corporation as a capital improvement cooperative district. Mr. Davis.
Yes, in February of this year, the council voted to enter into a development agreement with University Beach LLC. In that agreement, it was anticipated that the city would be presented for two cooperative districts, one an improvement district, and two districts. One would be a cooperative district, the other was an improvement district. We have already approved the improvement district. You had a first reading at the last council meeting on the cooperative district, and the city has agreed to operate in good faith with any district that was presented by the developer. It's for your consideration. We have tonight Mr. Alvin Hope, who is the attorney for the developer, and Mr. John Ray, who is the city's attorney. We also, the state statute does not require a public hearing, but due to the interest by everyone here, the council, President Bobo has agreed to open up the matter just as if we had a public hearing, even though none is required. So the same rules would apply. You address your comments to the council as a group, or if you have any comments or questions, please do that and try to keep it within 3 minutes if you can.
Okay, so public hearing is not required for this item, but because it's of great interest, we're going to allow comments at this time. Is there anyone who would like to speak on the agenda item? I know Mr. Holland had some questions. Mr. Hope or Mr. Ray, is there a way that you could come up and kind of fill in some light with some of his concerns?
Good evening.
Good
My name is-
evening.
Thanks for having me. My name is Alvin Hope. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Maynard Nixon. I'm in the public finance group with our practice group. As I mentioned before, we came before you when you approved the improvement district, which by the way we're grateful for, appreciate that. That district has met and it has moved to form what we have before you today, a cooperative district. Mr. Holland spoke to some of the districts that have been formed around the state. Most districts are successful. I'm not necessarily familiar with the legislative history he referred to in terms of the origin of the 99B and 99A districts. The 99A is Chapter 99A of Title 11 and Chapter 99B of Title 11. 99A is the improvement district. 99B is the cooperative district. 99, Chapter 99 is the tax increment financing district. All of these entities were passed by the state to support inducement of developments, project developments. I don't think they're specific to disasters. Most of the districts we've been involved with, if not all, have been to support economic development. That's what this project is intended to do. I understand that it's there's a natural concern for what this development, the impact it may have, but the intent of this district and these developments the bargain is to create more tax dollars and to induce developers to come into an area and make an investment. This particular developer is making a handsome investment. The agreement that was referred to by Mr. Davis and the incentives that were referred to, there's a threshold that the developer has to make to qualify for those developments. And so I think there were some questions about the appointments and selection process of appointments. The practice is that the developer offers names of qualified electors within the city or the county. In this instance, the city, because we were 4 years of authorizing subdivision. That's the defined term within the statute that created the formation of the cooperative district or the improvement district. You all have the appointing power. We're asking you to appoint one person to this particular district. I don't know if I'm touching on some of your questions, but
Mr. Hope,
just trying to
I have
expand
a
on.
question. Where did these names come from? Since the council's supposed to appoint one person, I've never seen anything about this particular appointment or the other two. How did this process happen?
Again, the developer, that's the practice, offers names of folks. The statute only requires that the appointees or the candidates be qualified electors or residents of the city or county, in this instance, the city. That's the only qualification. There's no application process, there's no selection process. It's just offered by that particular developer because the developer is assuming the risk in a lot of ways. So ideally, the developer offers these names, and then the city has the authority, and the improvement district in this instance has the requisite authority to approve those recommendations.
I guess I'm just curious how two people from Texas and one from California could just arbitrarily pick out three names from a city that they know nothing about.
Well, it's not unusual for developers to invest in cities that they're not in. So it's not necessarily, I don't think it's arbitrary that they pick those names. I don't know part of their due diligence, but they did identify three persons that are actually citizens or residents of this area. So they satisfy the requirements of the law. So I can't speak to how he came to these three people.
Did you have a question? Did you want to come to the microphone, please, so that everyone can hear?
The developer is not here.
My understanding is
Can you, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but could you come to the microphone so that everyone can hear you?
yeah, this is kind of, we're really confused about this because you're going to, there's going to be one board member here. My understanding, is that correct? You're going to vote in one board member for the cooperation, the cooperation district. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, just one member. Okay, where are the other two?
Well,
I'm just wondering, why didn't you do all three at the same time?
Good question, sir.
Okay.
In fact, I probably should have expanded on that. What a cooperative district is, again, it's the cooperation of two governmental entities. When you form the improvement district,
Mm-hmm.
and that improvement district met, it appointed two members. And then the city, being the other party to that district, will be appointing a member as well. So it's a collaboration of two governmental entities. One is the public corporation, in this instance, the other is the city. And we're petitioning the city to, in concert with the agreement that we've already referenced here, the project agreement, to make its appointment to this entity and to form this district.
Okay. Now, I'm wondering, there's three people. Now, we're under the impression that the council chose one person, and the developer is going to choose two more people.
So the developer recommended all three.
I understand that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I don't understand. I've never seen anything in anything that I've read that it's split like that. And my understanding, and maybe I'm just completely wrong, but my understanding is that the council votes on the initial board, and then they can that board can come back and set through bylaws how they want things voted in. So, and keep that in your back of your mind. What I'm wondering is, how are the other two people, or because of the developers want those two people, they don't get to vote on it? Is that how it works?
Well, the bargain struck here, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
is that the law only requires you have a minimum of 3 board
I
members.
understand that.
In this instance, one will be appointed by the city and the other will be appointed by the improvement district. The other two will be appointed by the improvement district. Developer recommended them all.
I understand that.
So
But how did they come to that agreement? Because it's not in the,
it's not a formal, it's not documented. It's just as long as it satisfies the three board member requirement, the split of how many.
okay, so if they wanted to, they could say the developer gets to choose the 3 board members.
Again, it goes back to the reason why traditionally these things aren't necessarily a big issue, because the understanding is that the developer is the one that's assuming a lot of the risk.
I understand.
And so the split is usually not necessarily a big issue. Oftentimes the developer sits on the improvement district board. That's
Mhm.
not the case in this
I
instance.
understand that also.
So
It just seems, can y'all help me with that? I mean, was that, did you sit down and figure out that y'all were gonna choose one? Oh, that's what we're told, and that's the one that's gonna be put on tonight. Are the other two gonna be, when are they gonna be put on? Or are we just assuming that the developer chose those two, so they're automatically on? These folks don't have to vote on it. Is that what I'm assuming?
So again, the improvement district gets to, and they've appointed, and they've already approved.
Okay, and when, does that have to be in public? Does that have to be a public?
That was a public meeting.
Okay, so the last public meeting, they voted these 2 people in.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, that helps me a lot. See, we didn't know that. That was kept from us. That would've, because this is confusing enough. All this stuff is confusing. We want, just want to be up front. You know, if you voted these guys in and it follows the rules, then that's fine. Tell us. Transparency. That's all we're asking for, is just transparency. I want to know when these boards meet. We all want to know when these boards meet. That's all right.
Well, that's fair enough, Tom.
Thank you.
Again, these are public meetings, and so you're entitled to that notion. As I understand, we definitely gave proper notice, so. Any other questions?
Ms. Webb, what do we consider proper notice? Where were these done? I didn't know about any of these board meetings either.
Mr. Davis, can you explain about the posting of notice for that particular meeting?
Notices are posted at City Hall, and we can modify that if you want to do that.
Yes, I think that would be the best thing, is to be a little bit more transparent with that.
Okay. We can do that.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the agenda item? Okay, now that we've heard comments related to the item, we'll move it to consideration. The form of that motion is to adopt the resolution approving an application filed with the council seeking the authority to incorporate a public corporation as a capital improvement cooperative district. Do I hear a motion?
So move. Second.
All right, that's a motion by Pro Tem Washington and a second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
This is for formation of the district, voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes. Yes.
No.
No.
Yes. Item number 9 is new business. 9A is ordinances and resolutions of a permanent nature. 9A1 is a first reading ordinance repealing ordinances 2225 and 2226, ordering demolition of 1207 15th Street Court. Mr. Cunningham.
Yes, Madam President. This is, excuse me, this is a first reading of a repeal that was tabled on September 23rd. So the effect of this ordinance is to repeal a currently standing demolition ordinance. And this is at the request of the majority property owner, who has taken steps to try to remediate this property. At that time period in September, the property owner had provided an estimated timeline to complete the work of October 28th. She has since provided an update email, which is part of your packet, that provides some information of she was delayed during that time period. At this point, council may choose to table again, may offer it for first reading. Also, the majority interest property owner, her attorney may be present. I'm not sure. He wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it. So if you have questions of okay. You're behind the pole, couldn't see you. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Answer your question.
Do you continue?
No, go ahead.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Jack Pease. I'm an associate at Bradley Arant, and I am helping Miss Mayfield in this representation along with some partners at our firm. As Chris said, she is committed to restoring this property. She has estimates with the contractor. The contractor was delayed around a week or two, which prevented her from completing the restoration by October 24th. However, he was able to, start that process. He's been there twice to assess the property and what would be required to restore and repair. The anticipated restoration date would be 4 to 6 weeks from now. All the property owners do not live in Northport at the moment, and so it is hard to kind of have a hands-on building experience away. However, given that that is their old family home, and Miss Mayfield has taken significant expense and effort to consolidate the ownership to where she is a majority owner, she is committed to restoring the home. And that's all I have. Please let me know if you have any questions.
I want to make sure that I heard you correctly. We believe that the restoration will be complete within 4 to 6 weeks from now. So probably by our second meeting in January, it would be totally completed.
That is the anticipated date, yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so that's a first reading. Is there anyone who would like to offer that as a first reading to repeal the ordinances 2225 and 2226, ordering demolition of 1207 15th Street Court?
Can I ask a question before we move forward?
Sure.
Is there, if we have the first reading tonight, obviously the second reading would be at our next meeting. Is there a thought that within the next 2 weeks that there would be some amount of progress on the property, so that if we move forward with
that is the plan.
Canceling the demolition order.
I believe we would also be okay with tabling this until a further date where we can show more substantial steps towards restoring the property. However, I believe in the next 2 weeks there would be those steps. It will be more dependent on the contractor and less on Ms. Mayfield's commitment.
Any other questions from council? Is there anyone who would like to offer that as a first reading?
I'll offer a first reading.
All right, that's offered by Pro Tem Washington. Item 9A2 is a first reading for storage and removal of inoperable vehicles on private property. Mr. Cunningham.
Yes. Thank you for that. This ordinance prohibits the storage of inoperable vehicles on private property within public view. So, and it would be applicable to residential and commercial districts. It comes with a favorable recommendation from public safety. And really when this ordinance applies is when hand delivery, or if you want to put it in common parlance, ticketing someone is not possible, such as when it's an out-of-state owner, which we've ran into several times. So this allows an administrative process for removing those inoperable vehicles. It also provides a very robust definition of what an inoperable vehicle is, as well as exemptions for businesses that might have these types of vehicles on site for good reason. So it is ready for a first reading.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to offer that as a first reading?
So offered.
It's offered by Councilman Aiken. Item 9B is resolutions of a temporary nature. 9B1 is a resolution approving a new city domain. Mr. Murphy.
Yes, ma'am. Domain name northportal.gov was approved by the admin committee and is ready for a vote tonight.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution approving northportal.gov as an additional city domain. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 9B2 is a resolution declaring emergency and authorizing emergency public works contracts for sewer repairs at Highway 69 North and Highway 82. Mr. Webb.
Yes, a contractor working on the ALDOT project at the intersection of Highway 82 and Highway 69 damaged and blocked the sewer line. We're requesting you approve the emergency resolution for repairs on the sewer line. And you'll
Okay.
also see items in the consent related to this.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution declaring an emergency and authorizing emergency public works contracts for sewer repairs at Highway 69 North and Highway 82 intersection, and authorize the city administrator to approve the requisition for said repairs. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Aiken and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments?
Mr. Webb, will they reimburse us for this? Will we be reimbursed, the city?
Yes, the legal part of it is
Okay.
seeking reimbursement.
All right, are there any further?
Question. How long will this take, do you think? before that-
It took about 72 hours. The work took place. This is ratifying the emergency declaration, and the work is complete. And we worked around the clock for about 72 hours to get this done.
Do we have any other questions or comments?
This is legal cleanup of the emergency work that was completed previously.
Any additional comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 9B3 is a resolution authorizing water service outside the city limits for property located at 14496 Sullivan Road. Mr. Davis.
Yes, as to the prior motion, now that the damage was in excess of $200,000, so now that the council has voted to pay this, we will be going very quickly after the contractors and subcontractors that caused this damage. It was a mess at the intersection of 82 and 69, if you can only imagine.
Okay, so you're speaking on 9B2.
That's 9B2, yes.
Yes, sir.
9B3
So with the ALDOT
is,
project, that was
the ALDOT
yes, sir.
project,
Okay.
yes.
There was an issue that caused an emergency.
That's right, and it had nothing to do, for change, it had nothing to do with the city, nothing to do with our employees. This was a state project, a state contractor that caused damage to the city water line, the city sewer line. And so we'll be after them for reimbursement. Going on to 9B3, this is a request for water service outside the city limits. The staff recommends approval. It meets all of the requirements.
Okay, so the form of that motion for item 9B3 is to adopt the resolution authorizing water service outside of the city limits to be provided to Miss Bobby Sullivan at 14496 Sullivan Road pursuant to the conditions in the resolution. Do I hear a motion?
So move. Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes, 9B4 is a resolution accepting balancing change order number 1 for visual service line inspection project. Mr. Webb.
Yes, this will close out our project. This was identifying lead copper, part of the lead copper rule. It's a decrease of $60,534, and it will, like I said, a balancing change order close the project out.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution accepting balancing change order number 1 for the visual service line inspection project, which deducts $60,534 from the contract price, and authorize the city administrator to execute the necessary documents to proceed with the project. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilwoman Dykes and a second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington.
Yes.
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 Yes. 9B5 is a resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement with the Cassidy Company for relocation of utility facilities on public right-of-way. Mr. Webb.
Yes, AlDOT has plans to improve the intersection right out here at Highway 43 and 82. And part of that will require our utilities to be moved outside of the intersection. The contract tonight will be for the engineering services to do the work.
Okay, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement between the city of Northport, the Cassidy Company Incorporated, and AlDOT for the relocation of utilities and improvements at Highway 82 and Highway 43 North. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
That's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. Are there any questions or comments?
And we will be reimbursed for this, right?
Yes, this is a 100% reimbursable project from
Yes.
AlDOT.
Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Yes. 9B6 is a resolution appointing one director to the Board of Directors of University Beach Cooperative District of the City of Northport. Mr. Davis.
Yes, Madam President, this resolution would appoint Mr. Chavaris Porter as an initial director of the Board of Directors of the University Beach Cooperative District. I think Mr. Porter may be here. I don't know if he's here or not. Woodrow is Mr. Porter.
He's
Here? Okay.
All right, so the form of that motion is to adopt the resolution appointing Mr. Chavaris Porter as an initial director to the Board of Directors of University Beach Cooperative District of the City of Northport. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Pro Tem Washington and a second by Councilman Wiggins. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes. 9C is consent agenda. This ranges from minutes and bill listings and PO requisitions. Form of the motion is to approve the consent agenda for the November 4th, 2024 council meeting as printed. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Pro Tem Washington and a second by Councilman Aiken. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, Ms. Webb.
Voting with Pro Tem Washington?
Yes.
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 Yes. Item number 10 is reports of special committees of council. Do we have any? There are none tonight. Item number 11 is public hearings. We have no public hearings tonight. Item 11A is engineering, none. 11B, legal department, none. Planning and inspections, none. Police department, none. Item number 12 is the city administrator's business. Ms. Webb.
I only have one item tonight, and that is to invite everyone to City Hall this Friday, beginning at 9:30, as we have our Veterans Day celebration. We'll have coffee and donuts beginning at 9:30, and then a program at 10 o'clock. And we appreciate the Brito Foundation for sponsoring and assisting with that celebration.
Okay. Item number 13 is departmental business. We have none. Item number 14 is mayor and council members' business. We'll begin with the Honorable Mayor Henson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Police Department had an excellent fall festival last week, and there were hundreds in attendance. Very successful. Just want to compliment them for that. And then again, the Veterans Day program this week on Friday. We certainly hope that many of you will attend. This is a wonderful program. We've had it before, and representing, acknowledging and representing our veterans who've served our country so well. So if you can come, please do. That's all.
Item B is District 1. I have no new business to discuss. Item C is District 2. Pro Tem Washington.
No, I have none.
Item D is District 3. Councilman Wiggins.
I have none.
Item E is District 4. Councilwoman Dykes. Sorry.
I just want to thank Chief Burton. I don't know where he went, but the coverage during Halloween on Clear Creek and Huntington Place is horrible. People walk across the street, and we had coverage there, and I just want to thank them, thank the officers who were there.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Councilwoman Dykes. Item F is District 5. Councilman Aiken.
Don't forget to vote.
That was probably the best one I've heard all night. Item number 15 is adjournment. The form of the motion is to adjourn the meeting at 6:14 p.m. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Wiggins and a second by Pro Tem Washington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.